go ahead and get this thing started. Thank you all for coming to the budget town hall. We're doing a virtual in-person style town hall this time. In the past few years, we've had separate ward meetings to try and bring out the issues that the residents have for our city here in Belton. And rather than having the separate ward meetings at a place like Memorial Station, we thought we'd do something a little bit different and have something like this where it's in person and virtual, so folks can do it either here if they want their face seen, or they can watch from home on a mobile device or wherever they're at, and they can also ask questions virtually, and we'll try to answer those questions. We'll have two of these, one today and one on Wednesday, so hopefully we'll get some feedback between now and the end of Wednesday's town hall. So let's start this thing off by if there are any questions. The idea behind this is to kind of bring out any concerns with the public, any of the concerns the public's having, any priorities that the public would like for the city staff, the city council to consider as we're going through the budget process. The budget process is kind of our biggest issue that we deal with every year. It's all the taxpayer dollars. Where are those going? What services are we providing? What things are we making a difference with? And the idea is that we get the feedback from the public to start, and then the council hears that feedback, and then as they're going through the process of the workshops, they can say, okay, here's what we think our priorities need to be, and then the staff takes those priorities as dictated by the public and by the council and says, all right, here's our stab at the budget, tell us what you think, and then we go through the back and forth, and by the end of this process, we've got this nice cake baked that's got everybody's desires, and everybody gets what they want, right? So if only we were that lucky. Do we have any questions at this point? Let's go ahead and get this. There's not very many people here in person. There may be some more online, and so we'd like to open up for questions. We have someone monitoring the online component, so if those questions come through there, they can go ahead and ask us, and if there are any here in person, we'll be glad to start with those. Have a lot of city officials here, so we don't, obviously they have a direct outlet to get their questions answered if they would like. Any online, Charlie, at this point? No? This could be the quickest budget town hall we'd ever could have dreamed. Yes, sir. What are the plans for sidewalks? The plans for sidewalks? Well, we don't have a very good plan for sidewalks. We've done the study. We know what the sidewalk needs are. Of course, we tried to get a use tax passed last April, and a good chunk of those funds would have gone toward sidewalks and gone toward lowering water bills. And the voters decided that they didn't want to approve the use tax, which is, of course, their right. But once that failed, we didn't really have, at this point, we still don't have a clearly identified revenue source to pay for sidewalks. As it is, the way our code is written, sidewalks are the responsibility of the property owner that the sidewalks are adjoining. So they're technically not the city's responsibility. They're technically the responsibility of the property owner, but the city would be happy to help lead the charge to try and get something done on the sidewalks, but we can't do that without a revenue source. As it is, we don't, the liabilities the city has with streets, with the public safety, with the things that we're tasked with keeping up to date on a day-to-day basis, we already don't have the funding to keep everything up to date as everybody would want. I mean, if you drive down city streets, you can see that there are streets that need repair, obviously, and that's part of our responsibility as a city. And so it's hard for us to say, yeah, we're going to make sidewalks a priority with the existing funding when we are still trying to get streets caught up and done. So to answer your question, we don't have a very good plan for what we're going to do with sidewalks at this point. Definitely open to suggestions.
Well, that grant that was council meeting last one and the one before, where we are going to get some funding for sidewalks, $250,000 or something, to study and sidewalks.
That grant was designed to essentially help us to study what the needs are for infrastructure moving forward. And that it doesn't just include sidewalks. Sidewalks would be part of that. Not this grant that we're applying for now, that we would be responsible for a portion of it, and the rest would come from federal funding, and none of that would go toward an actual sidewalk project, but it would go toward helping us prioritize based on that grant funding what sidewalks should be done first if we could find a revenue source. And so the idea is that you do the study, use it in utilizing their methodology. I saying their methodology, the federal grant program that we're trying to utilize. And then once you do that study and that the priorities are set up through that study, then that puts us in a better position for that kind of grant funding in the future if we can identify a revenue source and actually start getting some of these projects done.
That's my understanding, we did get the grant, or we don't know?
Not yet. We don't know yet. Any other?
A couple of things that I've had constant conversation about in my ward, and I've mentioned them to you a couple of times, trash cans
Mm-hmm.
and brush removal, especially after this last bit of Midwest wind we had.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of limbs laying around that can't be tied up in bundles with twine. So I know I've mentioned it to you, Joe, a couple
Mm-hmm.
of times, but that'd be something I think we could look at in the budget process.
Brush removal. Yeah, we are able to set up pretty easily, and we have that, we have plans to do that as we have future storm issues, a site for people to drop off. That's a pretty simple and easy fix. Now, actually, contracting with someone to come in and remove brush, at different locations, that's a little bit of a bigger ask, but
I think they're mostly concerned of just a drop-off place.
yeah.
Because it can't be tied up with twine.
Sure, we've got a pretty easily identified drop-off place, and at the sign of the next storm, once we get the next major storm like that where we have an issue, we'll go ahead and set it up, and we'll let people know, hey, bring your brush here. Most likely be right off of Marquee, near the park and the golf course in that area.
And I know that I know that the trash cans is part of our budget, but if we could decide if we're getting new ones or not getting new ones or whatever, that is something that I am asked about often.
Yeah, there's the funding for trash cans is definitely something we're trying to monitor the replacement of the trash cans and the wear and tear of the trash cans that we've provided already, because once we have a better handle on that and understand what the replacement needs are going to be, because we're worried about them failing in mass because they all went out at roughly the same time, and most of them have had the same amount of times they've been grabbed by the grip, so to speak, and utilized. And so if some are starting to fail, we're worried that they're all going to start to fail at the same time, and then we'd have to have a large purchase again. And so as we get that identified, then we can definitely have a plan for what that looks like, as far as whether we can remove that charge, or we get to a certain amount of money that we're comfortable. Okay, we have enough replacement here. Let's.
And that would reflect in the water bill.
It would reflect in the water bill if we can make that work. So one thing we're definitely going to look hard at this year is, and not that we don't have it in the past. I mean, that's one. I'm glad you brought up the water bill. 3 years in a row now, we have not raised water rates on residential consumers. Last year we didn't raise them on residential or commercial consumers, and that doesn't mean we haven't had an increase in expenses. We have. We get the water through Kansas City. They've raised their rates to us as the provider of that water every year. We've utilized our healthy fund balances to essentially not have to pass those expenses on to the residents, and so we're very cognizant that the water bills are an issue and have been, and that's one thing we've tried to address by not passing on those increases in the past 3 years. So, any other comments or questions? I know just it's not really necessarily a hot budget item, but the two big streets projects that are in town should be wrapping up pretty shortly in the next couple of weeks. We're talking about the one on 58. And then the Cambridge roundabout at Mullen. So those both should be open here in the next few weeks. So.
Like before the end of November?
Yeah, that's the hope.
Okay.
That's assuming weather cooperates. Any other concerns or questions you want us to discuss? And if you want to wait till Wednesday and bring them back, that's fine too. If there's more people, I mean, we can do that. If we need to find another way to do this, that's fine too. We're just trying to be creative and reach the people the way they want to be reached. So, still no questions online? No? Okay. Well, that was quick and short and relatively painless, unless somebody else has something else they'd like to bring up. No? All right, we'll look forward to more communication from the city on this. We're committed to being transparent in our budget process and all processes that we do through the city. And so, if you don't get the answers that you're looking for through our many online components and the information we have available there, please reach out to us directly. We'll be doing this again on Wednesday, so we'd love to have as much interaction and feedback as we could, as many questions as possible. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. Enjoy the Chiefs game.
Oh, I'm so sorry.